Warning, this is a new 26 review for Rarity Takes Manehattan. Yay! But keep in mind, code equestrian rules. No audio, video clips from this show, music from this episode, or any episode of Friendship is Magic is being used in the creation of these reviews, seeing that they belong to Hasbro Studios and DHX Media. Please support the official release by watching the stream on hubworld.com. Please, they deserve your money and patience. Plus, mature language may be used in this review, so viewer discretion is advised. And if any clips are being used, it's being used under the U.S. copyright rule under fair use. Thank you very much. This video will not be monetized either. Well, here we go. Cyanide pill. Suicide note written. Last will and testament. Rarity episode. Holy Lord, why would I watch this? Wait a minute. It's actually good? Huh. Are pigs flying? Yes, they are. Let me explain. Hello, welcome back to the new 26 as part of Code Equestria. I am, of course, the artist known as Leocoline59, but soon to be known as Nirvana Sparkle, bringing you another review episode. Yes, I know, I broke my review moratorium last week, and now since I've broken it, all hands are on deck. And remember in the last episode how I warned you that I wasn't looking forward to this? And by the way, if you haven't seen the new 26 review for Bats, someone, whether it be myself or my editor pony, will gladly leave an annotation link in the box below for you to see, for you to get to that. It will open to a new window, so please respect that. And yes, I wasn't looking forward to this episode. Why? Because it was a Rarity episode. Me and Rarity do not have an estranged relationship. Hell, we don't even have a relationship. I hate this character. If it wasn't for Tabitha St. Germain, this character would be one of the worst written and probably worst acted characters in the history of animated television. That's right, even SpongeBob SquarePants is written more confidently than this pony. And then this episode shows up. Now, let me just say it right here. I hate this character. I've hated everything about this character. But after this episode, Pinkie Pie is now officially last and worst pony. Huh? Why? Because this episode does in 22 minutes what an entire 3 seasons hasn't been able to do with this character, in my opinion. Write this character correctly, competently, and write her in a way where you come out liking the character. That's why. And plus, it's one of the most plot important episodes of the season. But I'll get to that later. This is the point in the video where I'm about to spoil everything about the episode. So, if you have not viewed it, if you have not gone to hubworld.com and viewed it, or done your due diligence and went to Hub Network to, I don't know, watch it, do yourself a favor and do so. Pause the video, get off your flanks, watch this episode legally. I don't care how you do it, just make sure it's legal. Then come back and see me. For those that have watched the episode or do not care about spoilers, here we go. Rarity and the rest of the Harmony 6 are off to Manhattan, the pony equivalent of New York City, all the way down to the Brooklyn Bridge and the statue of, I guess, Pony Liberty. Even down to everybody's obsessant need for a taxi in this town. God, they got New York down to a science, which kind of tells me that some of the writers and animators have been through and at an Empire state of mind. Soon thereafter, we are introduced to the next song in the Season 4 catalog, a song appropriately titled Generosity, which acts as a perfect setup to explain the nature of the city and how due to its incessant need and big size to help everybody, it does. Rarity paints a picture of a city that is overly generous, while showing the fact that she is generous in almost every example. There should be a generosity count with the acts of generosity that Rarity actually performs in this episode competently. In terms of where I rank the songs, this song is right up there with Art of the Dress. How much up there is it? It has now officially become my number 2 favorite song in the entire series. It's that solid of a musical piece. The reason why the Harmony 6 are there is to take place in Manhattan's Fashion Week, which the actual New York City actually does have a fashion week at some point of the year where the best designers of fashion show off their wares and the critics try to pick a winner and a loser. For the rest of the Harmony 6 and Rarity, though, they're just there to support their friend and take in the sights. Something that Rarity cashes in by each giving them a ticket to the pony equivalent of Broadway to see one of the best plays there, Hemi of the Hills. But naturally, it's about Rarity first, which all the group agrees. When Rarity notices that she might be late, she rushes off on a taxi, which, by the way, brings up my first negative of the episode. An Alicorn princess wants a taxi. How do you respond to that question? Especially not by acting like a typical angry New Yorker and blowing her off and telling her to get in line like the rest of them. You do know who she's friends with, right? She could have your head. How badly Twilight's princess position is being written this season is a topic for a whole another video as part of the Nirvana Scroll series, so I'll get to that later. Naturally, the rest of the group just so happens through an act of generosity portrayed earlier, which, by the way, Rarity's acts of generosity start a domino rally of other citizens doing generous acts for Rarity, thus showing the good advantages of having generosity. That performing generosity can often lead to acts of generosity in return. A kind of pay it forward method. She runs in there just mere seconds on time when the snooty fashion designer Prim Hairline decides to give her a once over argument, but this quickly passed up when one of Rarity's old fashioned friends shows up and admits she has a problem with her latest line. Rarity, of course, being the generous one, decides to generously give her some of her new fabric from her own line to assist her friend. But this quickly bites her in the flank as the generosity is taken for and Rarity gets trampled as the friend steals her idea and steals the credit for it. Similar to a plotline actually in last week's Littlest Pet Shop episode, if you can believe it. To make matters worse, Rarity's dream has seemed to be officially crushed. But when she gets an idea of creativity inspiration, the rest of the Harmony Six decide to help out making the new line, soon to be known later in the episode as Hotel Chic. But everything seems to be going swimmingly, except for the fact that the rest of the Harmony Six are a little bit perturbed that they might miss the play they were promised a viewing of. But Rarity's frustration, anger, and pressure to get the line out finally causes Rarity to crack back on her friends pretty brutally, and she storms off. In terms of the argument here, nobody's a winner here. They're both wrong. Both Rarity for acting like super douche, and the rest of the Harmony Six for being selfish and considerate in a pressure time of need. This is almost the absolute reverse of the situation from Suited for Success, when Rarity was making the dresses and the rest of the Harmony Six were displeased and wanted a bunch of ideas. Now the roles are flip-flopped. The Harmony Six are the ones doing the work, and Rarity, if only for a small second, shows a lack of gratitude. And this, when it's time for the actual fashion show, ends up biting Rarity straight in the flank for the first time. Her generosity and her reception of generosity both show the negative and positive ends in this episode, which shows how brilliantly veteran writer Dave Polsky wrote this episode. It's absolutely superb, but in in a very familiar, at least to me, aha moment when the velvet rope in which guarding the seats that the Harmony 6 were going to sit in to watch Rarity's show magically blinks. She has a quick intuition and runs off to try to meet her friends. She fears they may have left, but they were lied to, and the friend's assistant, Coco Chamel, who has never really liked the idea of stealing Rarity's designs in the first place, ultimately breaks off from her former employer and lets loose the truth that Rarity did win the competition when she ran off in haste. And, as an olive branch of friendship, manages to give Rarity a rainbow-colored spool of wool, which, strangely, at the end of the episode, has the same magical blank as the velvet rope from earlier. This causes me to conclude only one reasonable explanation. The wool is the first key to the Harmony box. Remember that thing? From all the way back in episode 67? Yes, the box finally has relevance for the first time in about 7 episodes or so. Coco Chamel gets the opportunity to design a new line on her own in place of Rarity, which Rarity was offered a chance to make an advanced line in Manhattan, but decides to turn it down and give Coco the position instead. But for a small moment, this brings up the fact that Rarity could be leaving the quaint confines of Ponyville very soon. Plus, we get beautiful one-liners from Rainbow Dash, including a little bit of a verbal counterbreaker that works out beautifully at the end of the episode. The moral about the pros and cons of generosity is a great moral, and the argument is realistically betrayed with no dead set winner. But what this also brings up is the fact that Rarity's character has single-handedly been saved in this episode. Many Rarity haters, including myself, look at Rarity as egotistical, self-driven, that although she has her generous moments, most of it is for her own personal gain, that she's selfish. Even Digibrony brings this up, and I will probably leave a link to his video about the episode so you can get his viewpoints on things, and also make sure to give him a sub as well. Overall, the story is fantastic. The cityscape is almost awe-inspiring. The song is perfect. The moral is perfect. And every character fits right into their respective roles. This episode is flawless in design and has clearly taken my spot as the #1 Rarity sode in the series. For taking so long for Rarity to have an episode, it was well worth the wait. Again, I say this. I was dreading this episode with every fiber of my being. Then I watched it. My complete opinion on Rarity as a character has been changed completely due to Dave Polsky's work, and it's a job well done. So, using a scale of 1 to 6, 1 being Mysterious Meridowell, the worst of the worst, and 6 being Harmistic, the best examples of friendship and harmony, a rewatchable example for all ponies to aspire to be taking all the positives and negatives into account, which there are very few negatives in this episode to give. I unabashedly give Rarity Takes Manehattan the first ever perfect 6 out of 6 for episodes. The rewatchability is incredible. The song is beautiful. And quite frankly, now that we got the first key to the box, and don't believe me that it's a key, I will just leave you with this. Remember what Morpheus said in The Matrix about any door can be opened if you have the right keys? They may not look like keys, but trust me, they are. This episode is perfect in every sense of the word. Maybe the best episode of the season thus far, ending the first 8 on a relatively very high note, which has got me very excited about next week when we talk Pinky Apple Pie. Until next time, Codequestrians, find peace in your own nirvana. And thanks for watching.